Arizona in the sports book. This is the sports book he uses, so that's got to tell you something. He's here all the time, and we'll be here for tonight's Monday night game between the Jets and the 49ers. But our next guest also went to Auburn, and sadly, Auburn was upset by Cal. And Frank, first, Charles says hello, and then second, he said his phone was blowing up by all these Cal grads all Saturday. Was that the case for you? Some people coming out of the woodwork?
Not at all, brother. And next time you guys talk to Chucky, you tell him I said hello as well. And I need two aside when we playing golf, just in case you want to tell him that too.
Wait. You got to give more than two. I mean, come on. You're like a 3. He's probably a 20.
No, man, Charles got a lot of money, man. He tried to bet you with money. He tried to play mind games while he betting you with that money he got. So it's a little different.
All right. Well, sorry about your Tigers, but I'm sure they'll rebound from there.
Isn't it like a loss to Cal, an ACC team, like an oxymoron in your own backyard?
It's like an Ivy League school.
It's in your own backyard. You lose to Cal? Seriously?
Hey guys, let's quit playing around. Like you guys, we expected it. Stop acting like you're surprised.
What?
The Tigers right now are like Auburn right now. Unfortunately, I told you guys when you asked me last week, I said I got to figure out how much money we paying for the NIL guys right now because I don't see a roster that's ready to go out there and just start competing really at a high level. And so that's just we still got some growth in our team. We got the Auburn Tigers have a team. But right now, they don't look like the team of old that you can brag about.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a long season, so it's still early. All right, let's talk about this Cardinal team. I mean, the big, of course, one of the narratives today is the lack of Marvin Harrison Jr. being part of the game. Is it just going to be time, or were you a little frustrated that he wasn't targeted more?
No, I was a little bit. I thought the game plan would have been a little bit more to get this guy involved. 3 targets isn't enough for your number one wide receiver. When you look across the league, pretty much when you look at Malik Neighbors from the Giants, he's the 6th overall pick. He went 5 for 66. Romeo Odunze from the Bears, he went 1 for 11. He was their 9th overall pick in this year's draft. Brian Thompson from the Jaguars went 4 for 47 with a touchdown, 23rd overall pick, and then Xavier Worthy from the Kansas City Chiefs. He weighs 165 pounds, but he went 2 for 47 and a touchdown, and he was the Kansas City 28th overall pick. So it wasn't out of the box numbers for a lot of the first round draft picks that were taken in this last year's draft. But when I look at my guy MJ, and we call him Maserati, that's more Pinto-ish numbers, and I just wasn't happy with that.
Frank, have you hired have you hired somebody to get you stats and stuff? I mean, you are prepared this week. What is with you and all these stats all of a sudden?
Brother, I had preseason warm-ups with you guys. I practiced in the preseason. I actually played in the preseason game. Now I'm ready to go to work. This is work now.
And I think you think of that, but you're Michael Wilson on top of that. You're 2 wide receivers. The 3 targets, as Rocket mentioned about Marvin Harrison Jr., and then Wilson just 2 targets and the 1 catch. Now, he should have had that other catch on the sideline in that last drive. But I think about that. Only 5 targets for your 2 wide receivers. It seemed like a very inside game. Rev's getting the ball there too, but you got to develop. I mean, they were playing a cover 2 with Shell. I get it. The inside routes, the hooks, the digs, they're there all day long, Frank.
No, I agree with you, man. This is sad to talk about these stats just across the board. I mean, our top 3 receivers had a total of 7 catches for 39 yards, and that's adding Trey. That's with Trey McBride and the 2 Michael Wilson as well as MJ Marvin Harrison Jr. But when you look at Gregory Dortch, he gets 6 for 47. One receiver does absolutely more than the actual combined top 3 players that you're actually supposed to be throwing the ball to. I can say there's one thing. I mean, we did tote the ball for 124 yards out of 24 carries. That's not a bad thing. I guess that is the game plan for the most part to get our running game to being the central thing, because we talked about it, guys. If there's no threat to the passing game, you're going to get a shell over top, and then they're going to load the box for the running game. Fortunately, that's just the situation that happened yesterday. And the numbers don't look good for our receivers. It did not look good for our receivers yesterday at all.
Okay, that 2-minute offense or minute and 25 offense, a lot of questionable thought process. 3rd down and 10 with 45 seconds, so you can't run the ball there, Frank. I'm just sorry you can't. Maybe get 4 or 5, and you have a manageable 4th down and 3 or 4. To throw a 50-50 ball, I'm sorry, to Greg Dortch on the side on 4th and 7, whether it's PI or not, that's a 50-50 ball. That's not a high percentage throw. I don't know if I blame Petzing or Murray or both on that last play.
Look, I agree with you on that. There were a couple of questionable play calls on 3rd down, and they ended up being running plays or draw plays that just didn't seem like those. Those are the best calls at that moment. I am surprised at what I saw, but if we look at it like this, the statement that says life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're gonna get. That's true when you don't in the preseason with your ace and your number 1 players. Mm-hmm. You really don't know what you're gonna get, and we didn't know what we was gonna get. Those are play calls that I think are very easy play calls to make when you're in a distance that requires passing or swinging the ball or Tyler being amazing. And the draw plays that were called, I agree. It was not that. But that 50-50 ball at the end of the game, that in itself is the only thing you were left with, considering if everybody else was double, that's the only thing you was left with. And it just, play calling wasn't amazing in some moments. But again, this is the first game of a team that most of the starters never played the entire preseason. And this is what happens when everyone's still trying to figure something out.
Frank Sanders is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Frank, take me into the locker room at halftime. So the Buffalo Bills at halftime made several adjustments offensively, but it seemed like the Cardinals didn't make any adjustments at all, and that really helped with the outcome of the game. How does that happen? You've been in the locker room. Tell me what goes on there. How can one team make adjustments and another team not?
Jimmy B, that is a great observation by you, because I'm watching the same thing that you saw, which is the Buffalo Bills that came out the second half was an entirely different team. And I agree with you on that. What happens is when it goes back to us realizing that you didn't have your players playing in the preseason game. So therefore, when you come out, you're still working through your game plan. You're still working through the idea that this is what we're going to be able to do. These are the adjustments we're going to make. But everyone still has to be able to make those adjustments if everyone's on the same page. Well, that's happening in real time while you have an opponent that's making those adjustments against those little things that you think you're doing. To me, I didn't see major adjustments by our offense or defense when it came to the second half. And I just think that's something where it looks like we just still need maybe another, I hope we need more reps and we need more time. And that is something that was a judgment call on JG. If the guys was able to go into the game and be healthy, maybe that was something he was designed more to have. Guys with fresher legs, maybe that was something a coach's decision. But I didn't see a whole bunch of adjustments that was made from the first half to the second half in regards to offense or defense in that game.
Frank, as we let you go, what do you see happening on Sunday against LA?
I'm going to be at the game. I'll be at the game, man. You know what's funny? I expect the adjustments to be made. That's the best I got for you right now, because the first week wasn't good. There were some good things in there. There were some bad things, but to me, I'm expecting, if they watch the game that just happened Sunday night versus the Detroit Lions, that was a hell of a game, and they shot their best. They shot their best. Two teams going at it, throwing the ball all across the football field. The Rams will not come in here afraid of the Cardinals. Their coach will walk in here just like he normally does, with no fear of the Cardinals organization, and not expecting the Rams to walk out of here without a win. I'm expecting JG to have an answer for that. I'm expecting Kyler Murray to have an answer for that. I'm expecting our defense to not allow what they saw Sunday to dictate what they do this Sunday coming in versus the Rams.
Enjoy the game, Frank. Thanks for the time, buddy. Appreciate you.
I will. No problem. Love you guys, man. Have a good one.
Frank Sanders joins us. Follow him on Twitter, X, Frank Sanders 81. Coming up, we're going to let you decide what is, in our opinion, which is the top two upset calls, local radio calls, Yes, a Saturday with NIU and Notre Dame versus Appalachian State and Michigan. We'll let you decide which is the best all-time call. We'll have that for our Learner Row 1 call next. It's Rocket Minuch with Jimmy B from Casino, Arizona.
Valley traffic from the Valley Toyota Dealers Traffic Center.
I-17 northbound near Bethany Home Road.